Next presenter is Dr. Abraham Baruchin from Israel, and he will give two presentations. The first one is Kaplan's romance with CO2 laser, and the next presentation is Israel's Society for Laser in Medical Science.
Ladies and gentlemen, first I would like to thank Professor Oshiro for allowing me an extra time to tell you a little story about Professor Kaplan. And thank you. And thank you, Professor Oshiro. The first lecture, please. The first one, not this one. Another. The first, okay. The other lecture first. Now, Professor, in the meantime, the story began many years ago when I was a young boy, and Professor Kaplan was my hero then. He still is my hero, and in later life he became my tutor and leader in the field of laser surgery. Inventions get out into the world in different ways. Some are sold, licensed, or given away as products or services. Believing in the success of an invention can involve risk, so it can be difficult to obtain support and funding. Grants, inventor associations, clubs, and business incubators can provide the mentoring skills and resources some inventors need. Success at getting an invention out into the world often requires passion for it and good entrepreneurial skills. As anyone with a knack for cliches knows, necessity is the mother of invention. Inventions has two mothers, or maybe a mother and a father. Necessity is the one we hear about most often. The second is product of pure laziness, e.g. television remote controls, forks that turn so you don't have to work at twirling your spaghetti, and the light that goes on and off when you clap your hands. However, it could also be said great inventions are accidental. From 1944 to 1948, underground men being held without a trial at the latrine on the way to Jerusalem concentration camps were deported by the British mandate of Palestine authorities to internment camps in Africa, located in Eritrea, Sudan, and Gilgil, north to Nairobi, Kenya. The British authorities hoped vainly that the remote location of the camp would preclude escape attempts. Shortly after their move to Gilgil, however, the prisoners, the Israeli prisoners or Palestinian at that time, began to excavate a tunnel and made various further attempts. Here you can see the concentration camp in Gilgil, the British concentration camp in Gilgil, and how it looks today on the right side. On the map you can see that Gilgil is here in Kenya, and this is an original photo from that time of some of the Israeli prisoners there. One of the prisoners, by the name of Yaakov Meridor, served later as a member of the 1st to the 6th Knesset of Israel. Knesset is the parliament of Israel, and was appointed by the Prime Minister Begin as Minister of Economics and Planning. Here you can see Yaakov Meridor and his book, Long is the Road to Freedom. I grew on this book. He was a Irgun commander in Gilgil, British detention camp in Africa, in the years of 45 to 48, and I was 4 years old at that time. He led 5 escapes attempts, and last finally bringing him back to Israel. And here where Professor Kaplan is involved. Here you can see Professor Kaplan in his early age, and the charming, always charming Masha next to him, always. Now, Professor Kaplan helped this escape, and his duty was to take the escaping prisoners from the border with Kenya. They ran away from here, then they passed the border to Kenya, and from Kenya he had to bring them all the way to Leopoldville, today Kinshasa, and from there by aeroplane to Europe. This is a part from his book. His book is his autobiographical book. Will be presented as a prize in this Congress to the best papers. And if anybody would like to have this book, I will be only glad to help him getting one. This is cited from his book. We had chartered a plane to fly the escapees from Goma to Leopoldville. You can see the airport of Goma. On arrival to Goma airport, we were informed that the runway was too short to take off with 2 extra passengers. They had 8 passengers in all, instead of 6 originally meant. You can see the airport of Goma today, which is still short runway. To take 2 extra passengers, we had to make our way to Kostermanville. Today is Bukavu. On the border, on the other side of Lake Kivu. You can see it somewhere here. Yeah, you see Kibuvu or Kosterville is here. They came first to Goma, and they went to Kibuvu, and they had to go to Bukavu on the other side, from Goma, on the other side of the lake. Here you can see the airport of Kostermanville, which is Bukavu today, and you see an original photo of a boat at that time. We were able to find a small motor vessel. As we were crossing Mount Kivu, erupted, and the lava came pouring into the lake. This you can see today the airport, and you can see the Mount Kivu, which is still active today. And at the end, they reached Leopoldville, Kinshasa, and you can see an original Sabena's airline from that time. Okay. 25 years later, in 72, Yaakov Meridor became a shipping magnate. Since we are donating money, he said, since we are donating money for medical purposes, maybe there is something from which you could benefit, he told Professor Kaplan. Ralph Gere, chief of surgery in the Albert Einstein, mentioned to me, to Professor Kaplan, that they are doing experimental work on excision of burned tissue with a laser CO2. The American optical, go and buy one, said Yaakov Meridor to Professor Kaplan. The American optical company had produced a CO2 laser which looked like an English telephone booth. And you can see laser on that time and an original English telephone booth. It was almost impossible to the American optical laser in clinical surgery, so I asked Uzi Sharon, that's the only photo of Uzi Sharon I could find, laser in clinical. I asked Uzi Sharon to modify it according to my requirement and start a serious clinical trial. That's how Kaplan came out from Sharon and Kaplan. And this is an original patent on the first laser from 1972. Thank you.